This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Alpha Natural Resources, an energy company dedicated to respecting the land. Alpha Natural Resources, we power the world through the energy of our people. The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community, promoting the free enterprise system to enhance economic competitiveness. Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.
Welcome to This Week in Richmond, and a very special welcome to the First Lady of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Maureen McDonnell. Thank you so much for being on This Week in Richmond. We were talking before we started taping the program that this has been a very difficult and challenging time because let our viewers know that this is just the first day that state government has reopened after the devastation that's taken place in Eastern Virginia and also in the Great Southwest due to the hurricane. So I know it's been a tough time for all the first responders and also for the governor and for his staff, and we appreciate you, the First Lady, being with us on this first day back to talk with our viewers about the mansion and about other initiatives that you have underway. So
Thank
again,
you, David.
welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. So why don't you start with telling our viewers something of what it's like to live in the mansion, because other than a few people who may be watching who have lived there, there are very few Virginians who have that opportunity.
Well, that's so true. I don't think there's anything that really prepares you to become First Lady or to live in the executive mansion, but it's been an unparalleled privilege for me. I can still remember the day that my husband was inaugurated, and he carried me over the threshold after.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes,
that's a nice touch.
It surprised me.
Right.
But at the time, you know, I really didn't have any concept of what it would be like to be living in the footsteps of history and at the same time being in the current moment of history in the making. And so one of the things I appreciated is that we had a snowstorm or a couple snowstorms right afterwards, and it gave me the opportunity to just be in the home by myself because a lot of government was shut down like we've had the last couple days. But it does give you a slower time when you can sit there and really grasp the enormity of living in a home where 54 governors and first families have lived, and you know, just kind of think about how those walls could talk through all the different first families living there, because it really has the heart of the family, you know, where our capital has all the history and the shows what goes on through the legislature. The home is where the governors and their first families live as a family, and it's there a lot of times, you know, we really come from very ordinary backgrounds, and then to all of a sudden be have that privilege to live in such a unique home and also take on the responsibility of preserving that home for the generations to come. So that's what really impacted me at the very beginning, was the enormity of the privilege that I've been gifted with, and it's been a real blessing because it has helped me learn a lot more about history than I think at this point in my life that I may not have taken the time to focus on. So it's been a great experience.
Well, you were the spouse of a member of the House of Delegates and then of the Attorney General of the Commonwealth, but as you say, when all of a sudden First Lady and moving into the governor's mansion, many people, if they're changing homes, they have an opportunity to be in and out of it several times, but while no doubt you were there on many occasions before, but all of a sudden now you live there.
Yeah, it does give it a different perspective.
It does.
Because prior to moving in, I'd always been there as a guest, and for different events that maybe lasted an hour or two. I did visit a few of the first ladies and have had more casual visits, but generally I was always, you know, outside the gate like everyone else, looking in the windows, and it was a very different place to be inside looking out the windows when everyone else left.
Yes.
So.
Well, and you have guests now who show up, and sometimes they stay outside the gate and look, and then there are occasions they come in and have tours. So that's another part of, I would think, is very unique about being in a home that that the public has access to certain hours of the day.
Well, it is the people's home.
Yes.
I mean, my husband and I and our family are virtually the guests in the home, because we're given that opportunity to live there for 4 years and entrusted with the home. But it is, the home belongs to the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's open for tours every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. People can walk up and visit, or a lot of times we really encourage them, if they have the opportunity, to make an appointment in advance, just because you could show up a day and there'd be a line and you may not be able to get in. But the home is open, and several times I've forgotten about the tours, and I'd be running out to an appointment. I come running down the stairs, and there are folks visiting, and I'll greet them and wave, or else our dog would get out from upstairs, and she loves to go out and visit the guards at the gate for the treats they hold for her. So she'll go running down the steps, and there'll be people at the door. She usually finds someone to let her out.
Yeah, right.
But it is the people's home, and my husband and I have really tried to invite as many opportunities that we can engage different groups and host events for folks from all over Virginia, because we want to share this rich history that we have, and hope that others will pass that same love for Virginia and our capital and what goes on here, to pass that on to their children and grandchildren.
Well, thinking about the rich history, you're holding in your hands something that is so special, and something that you've been an integral part in making it happen. So tell our viewers something about this big anniversary and about this delightful book that you're holding.
Well, we have a big anniversary, not many that we get to celebrate any different centennials, but this is our bicentennial. In 1813, Governor Barber was the first governor to move into the mansion. And my husband and I are now the 54th family to live there. So when I was, just before I was becoming First Lady Ann Holton had shared with me how we were approaching the bicentennial, and they had talked about wanting to do a book in our Citizens Advisory Council for the mansion. So she left that decision to me, and I just embraced it. I thought, what a great opportunity, not knowing what goes into publishing a book, or all the different avenues you look at for printers and editing and finding an author. But yes, this is going to be the centerpiece of our bicentennial celebration. First house, 200 years, 2 centuries with Virginia's first families, and it's just a beautiful coffee table book. It's available now through the mansion, through the Virginia Library, through the Capitol.
All those gift stores have it available.
It's not. We're not putting it out on Amazon, but it's available through many different venues here in Virginia, and it's just what we've been able to do is, one of the things that I got most excited about was I wanted to find those stories that maybe people hadn't heard about before, or hadn't been written about, or photographs that were stored away in an old attic up in Granny's, an old trunk up in up in Granny's attic. And you know, it just gave us the opportunity to really try to gather those pieces of history. And I put out an Oyez letter calling all Virginians to, you know, really engage them, and even those ancestors that had moved out of the state, but really alerting folks that we were approaching this anniversary and I tried to bring in things that we could showcase in the book, and it came together very well. We have a female, one of our women, Virginia, great historians that is our author, Mary Theobald, and Carol Roper-Hoffler is our design architect of the book, and we were blessed with. I made an invitation to David Baldacci and asked him. He's a Richmonder and he's a native Virginian, and he just loves Virginia. I asked if he would write our introduction. So we've been busy putting the book out on the market, talking about it on our Facebook page and on our mansion website, and just we've already sold just through the mansion over 1,000 copies.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, that is amazing. Well, I'm not doing a commercial for it, but I would say it's such a phenomenal book that anyone interested in Virginia history should get this for someone else for their holiday gift, for their Hanukkah or Christmas or New Year's, whatever occasion they are celebrating. They should get one of these. This is great.
Thank you for suggesting that, because we think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons we wanted to have it available for the holidays, because it literally takes you through 2 centuries, begins in the early 19th century and carries you all the way through to the 21st century. It has stories about the families, the children, has stories about the, talked about, I've never witnessed, but our ghost in the mansion, or ghosts.
Yes.
I haven't had any exposure to the ghosts, but it goes through all the fun stories, and it shows things that we've done. This is a wonderful evening that we did at Christmas time, because that first Christmas, as I was preparing for the mansion's Christmas in 2010, I just thought about how any family who would have lived there must pass by and think, I wonder what it's like this year. I wonder what's going on. And because you do that with the homes you've lived in. So I asked my husband, I said, could I have a dinner with all the former governors and first ladies and just have them to a seated dinner, have them back in the mansion while it's decorated for Christmas? And this was one of the years that we did that. And so that's opened up many opportunities through holidays and just preparation for the Bicentennial to really showcase what this is all about and why it's so important for Virginia, because there's really no other home like it.
You know, I didn't ask my senator how long it took, but he was telling me that when he got this book, that his wife that evening went from cover to cover throughout the book, so that she couldn't put it down.
Aww.
So you have created a treasure, you and others working with you, that will be enjoyed for years to come, and we certainly thank you for that. But that's not the only project that you've been, big project, because you've been working on one with portraits.
Right.
Yeah, tell our viewers something about that. We're going to put up on the screen for them to see kind of a collage of all the portraits of those first ladies.
That was another idea that when I was first trapped in the mansion, through those first 2 snowstorms of my husband's after the inauguration, I noticed that we have some great artwork. We get pieces from the museum. We get to showcase many beautiful historical pieces of art, but a lot of them are dark. You know, they're older historical pieces, and many of them are not of women or first ladies. And my curiosity was so intense at that point. I wanted to know what other women had lived there and what they had done with the home. And I opened up all the closets and went through, you know, drawers, and there's not much in a lot of stored there, but I just really wanted to find some, capture some images of former first ladies. And I thought, you know, this is really sad. So I started looking on the internet and found that we have one, Mrs. Tazewell is in the mansion, and she hangs there, but there's just not that many other. I found on the internet an old image of Patrick Henry's wife and different ones that go way far back, but I thought, really, this is something that I would like to start. So I started what I called my portrait project. I got it fully funded. I had some wonderful sponsors here in Richmond, And I did it I knew there was no way I could do all 71 former governors' spouses.
Right.
And so I focused on the 10 living first ladies. And I also wanted to work with, when the governors have their portraits done, I thought it would really be wonderful to showcase some of our great women Virginia portrait artists. And I found 5 Virginia artists, all women, who each painted 2 of the first ladies. So I brought together a committee to make that selection. We had several that they went through to select the artists, and then they also decided on who would paint which first ladies, and it came out wonderfully. We funded the painting and the framing, and they're all now on display at the mansion. They're on easels, and through this next month in November, in time for Christmas, we're going to start hanging some of them on in the mansion. I'd like to have. Right now I have 2 showcased over at the Virginia Library, and I also wanted to have something over in the Capitol so people get a little taste of it, and you know, pique their curiosity so they come over to the mansion and visit us. But it's been a great project. I think all the first ladies are happy with their portraits.
Excellent. That's important. That's
I was worried about that. That was
Right.
I really didn't want any woman to not appreciate how she was portrayed in her portrait, and I think they all came out beautifully. It spans many decades, because the longest living First Lady right now is Mrs. Godwin. And I had the beautiful experience of going with the artist to visit Mrs. Godwin and bring her portrait to her when it was done. That was one of the first ones that was completed. And so I really enjoyed that day. I spent a few hours with her, and she was just delightful.
Well, all you've done, you could sort of rest on your laurels, and but you're not. There's a big parties planned for next year, documentary. Tell our viewers something about those. Well,
you know, we're going to celebrate the bicentennial for a full year. We're on the eve of the bicentennial right now. Governor Barbour moved in March of 2011. So we wanted to, in preparation for that, one thing is this Christmas, so that people would be able to really capture what the mansion was like at the, 200 years ago. We're decorating the mansion in a bicentennial era. So all the way it's decorated and the different ornaments and would just really capture that moment in time. And then we're doing several other things. One of the things I did is I'm really promoting our Virginia wine industry. And through that, I've learned a lot more that goes back through our 400 years of history, and how when those first 3 ships came over from Britain, one of the things you would never have expected them to put on the ships were wine vines.
Wow.
And that's going back to 1607. So that was over 400 years ago. But Britain wasn't having any luck growing wine, and they wanted the New World to supply wine to the crown. So they put the vines on the 3 ships, the Godspeed, the Discovery, and the Susan Constant, and they had a rule that every young man over the age of 18 had to plant and tend at least 10 wine vines. And then in the first Colonial Congress, it became law when House of Burgesses met in 1607. It was the 12th law passed. It was called Act 12. And it was the same thing, that every young man over the age of 18 had to plant and tend at least 10 wine vines. So even though I'm almost 400 years late, when I learned of that, I thought, well, I'm going to resurrect this law and do my part. And at the mansion, when we first got in, I planted a garden, and we use all the produce from the garden in our events. But on the edge of the garden, just shaped like an L, I planted 10 wine vines. And my goal is, I just harvested the fruit this year. I planted 2-year-old vines, and my fruit is going to be blended with wine or juice and grapes from about 7 other vineyards around the state, represented through those that serve on the wine board. And we're making a bicentennial vintage of the wine. It'll be a red wine, and I'm going to make 1,813 bottles of wine, and the wine is going to be called 1813. It'll be Virginia's historic blend. So that's one way of celebrating. We're going to have a big birthday party in March. I'm thinking it's March 16th, that weekend, that we're going to have a birthday party. We're on the Capitol grounds, and what we're going to bring back is the way, going back in our history, they used to always on Sundays they'd open up the whole Capitol, and it was like a park, and people would walk the Capitol grounds. They'd have different bands that would come in, military bands, or that would perform on the steps of the Capitol, and I wanted to bring back that.
Interesting.
That part of it, and just have a. We're also making recording a documentary that'll be played that day, but it'll also be played, throughout the year. But that'll be the unveiling of this documentary that's going to put together 200 years of history at the mansion, and that'll be kind of like the culmination of the birthday event at the Capitol.
Well, that's going to be wonderful. Now, before our time runs out, let me ask you something about your flight team.
Flight, yes.
Yes, because
Thank you
people
for asking.
hear that, and tell our viewers what FLITE, what's the flight team?
FLIGHT stands for First Ladies Initiatives Team Effort, and I started it when right after Bob was inaugurated, because a lot of time, right? As I said, nothing really prepares you for being First Lady, and one of the first questions I got with a microphone was, what are my initiatives going to be? And
yes.
I really hadn't had an opportunity to think about that at the time. And as I pondered it over the following months, I felt that I didn't want to start a new initiative just to put my name on it, to showcase something I was doing, and I thought it'd be much more advantageous to use this platform for the wonderful heroes and hardworking people that are doing things already in the state. So I have 4 pillars of flight, and it involves women in business, to promote women in business, health and wellness. It's something I've been working on for 30 years. My husband's a veteran. Our parents were veterans. Military families, I really wanted to support serving those that serve us at 24/7. And the last was economic development in the area of wine, film, and tourism. And my husband ran on a theme of a Commonwealth of Opportunity. So I'm trying to showcase special people across Virginia who are doing things in those 4 areas. So I've been working throughout the state. I have a team that I name of women across the state that nominate people or programs to flight. And each year I
excellent. Yes.
do something with them, and I award each program to help them out and showcase the real heroes we have in Virginia.
Now, Fort Monroe is going to be open.
Yes.
Let's mention that.
Yes,
Say something about Fort Monroe.
Thank you for reminding me. That's one of the most exciting things I've been working on. When we heard that Fort Monroe was closing, one of the things that I'm doing with the military is called SOS, Serving Our Service Member Families. And I wanted to expand on that through different things that I'd been working on with that. And when I learned that the fort was closing, I thought, what are they going to do with those buildings? And what I've worked on is we're opening a Freedom Support Center, which is going to be a one-stop shop that will partner. It'll be a private-public partnership and bring together all the different programs and individuals across Virginia that a lot of times our military doesn't know about, who are ready to serve them, help them find jobs, service families' needs. They reach out in all communities, but a lot of times no one's aware of what those different groups are. So this will be both a on-site partnership and a virtual partnership to connect all these enterprises across the state that are supporting our military. Doors open in November, and
excellent.
In March I'm planning to have a large grand opening where we'll bring all the military in.
Oh, that's great. We could talk a long time, but would you believe our time has run out? It has, and you have covered so much, and we We appreciate your being on. You know, this is a first to have a First Lady on This Week in Richmond. So you're our first. So thank you very much,
I feel so privileged.
Maureen McDonnell. And we thank our viewers. And you probably have seen during the program the website, the First Lady's website, so you can go on and follow up with more initiatives. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Alpha Natural Resources, an energy company dedicated to respecting the land. Alpha Natural Resources, we power the world through the energy of our people. The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community, promoting the free enterprise system to enhance economic competitiveness. Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.